So reflecting on the lessons from 2020, I think the important thing we need to think about is, what did we learn about life? And one of the big reflections for me was that we've lived in a world which glorifies busy. Last year was like the most boring crisis ever. I kind of spent more time on my couch than I should have, but I realized that we've been rushing towards what? And I think we all need to reflect about, what did we really learn about what's important? You know, the health of family and friends, things that I hadn't really thought about in such a direct way have been brought into sharp focus. So think about what you learned, what you brought into focus. What do you appreciate more after 2020? Now, folks, there are so many things that I appreciate more. I appreciate a hug from a friend. I appreciate the opportunity to be out in nature, to travel, things that I took for granted because they were there. Think about what you appreciate more. What did you learn about yourself? I think this year, upon reflection, you will find you may have faced challenges like never before, but you've also grown in a way that you've never grown before in 1 year. And this is where I want you to just take a moment and say, I'm a different person than I was at the beginning of 2020. This is how I've changed. Now, in my case, I can say I've become much more stress resistant, resilient, able to be more patient with people. So those were my growth areas that have come to fruition. What did you learn about the people around you? Relationship dynamics changed a lot, some for better, some for worse. And we do need to reflect on, who are the people who are in our lives that are adding value? Who are the people who were there and it didn't add value into our lives? So we have to think that through. How did you experience confinement? A lot of us are back into lockdown, full lockdown. So having gone through that in 2020, we are basically now going through it for the second time. What learnings can you take from that first lockdown and apply to the second when it comes to how you were dealing with it? How did you deal with loneliness? Now, I'm lucky enough to have a wonderful husband that I live with. I have often this year thought about those who live alone, and it's not that when you are living alone, that doesn't mean you're lonely. You could be in a marriage with 4 kids and be lonely. So whether you are physically alone didn't mean that there was loneliness for you. That is something that we also need to explore. If you experience that loneliness, how did you deal with it? What tools did you use to manage your anxiety? Now, we've all found little tips and tricks, and unfortunately, a lot of us indulged in comfort eating, way too many gins and tonics, and I'm guilty. I put up my hand. This is something that I want to deal with better in 2021. But by looking at it, I can say this is an area that I need to work on. What is the growth that took place in 2020? Because we all did grow. So look at where you grew and what you planted and what's sprouting from that.